Part 18. Settling practical matters. Besides emotionally dealing with the loss, it is also important to establish a sense of order in your daily life from a financial and practical point of view. This is especially true if the deceased handled the money in your relationship. Again, do not be scared to ask for help. A family member or friend may be able to offer some advice in this area, and they may be able to help you a great deal more than you ever thought. If there are medical or insurance claims, have them taken care of in order to give yourself some peace of mind and financial freedom. The sooner this area is handled, the better you will feel all around. You will also want to research all your finances, make lists, and review all known assets, bank accounts, holdings, and so on. You may also need to create a list of all your expenses, debts, and loans so that the correct payments are allocated for each. You may need to liquidate your assets, if this is an option. In most cases, you will need to inform creditors of the recent deaths so they can adjust their records accordingly. This is a time when you will have to take care of all legal matters concerning yourself and the deceased. James Van Praagh 236. In order to settle most practical and financial matters, you will need copies of the death certificate. You may also have to contact an attorney if there is an inheritance or an estate to settle. 6. Moving on. When the sun sets, it also rises again. You have been through an incredible emotional period, and at times it seemed unbearable and you did not want to go on any further. However, the time has arrived when you are ready to assess your life and move on. A new chapter in your life has begun. You are now at a perfect place to seek guidance from a support or grief group. There are many support groups for people who have experienced a specific loss, for example, the loss of a spouse, or a child, or a sibling, or the loss of someone to AIDS, cancer, and the like. The individuals in a support group have also been through a similar loss, and, like you, hurt. Everyone needs help to get their lives going once again. I suggest that you visit a support group meeting and observe. See if you fit in and if you feel comfortable with the other members. Perhaps you might want a friend or family member to accompany you the first time. Above all, don't be afraid to ask for help. This is a time you may also want to get involved in a physical activity on a regular basis. Join a gym, talking to heaven 237, play tennis or golf, take a daily walk or jog. It is important that you get involved in physical activities so you can keep your mind sharp, your body in tune, and your emotions in balance. Physical activity helps to release anger, clear away depression, and dispatch beneficial hormones throughout your body. As I have previously pointed out, grieving and healing do not occur overnight, and there is no way of judging the amount of time it will take any individual to personally heal and start a new life. You will always have your loved ones around you, even though you may not be aware of their presence. You can always be happy and joyful with the memories you hold of them. Do not diminish these memories, for they are just as special as they were when the experiences occurred. Watch for behavior that could lead to impairment or injury. It is important to realize that there will be setbacks, so keeping track of feelings and mood swings is necessary. For instance, many people fall back into denial, disbelieving that death has occurred. Certain individuals are not able to come out of their denial and grief, and they may exhibit some sort of self-destructive behavior. Be aware of the following James Van Praagh 238 signs. If these signs continue for a long period of time, professional help is needed. 1. An individual may begin to entertain thoughts of suicide. This is common at first, but if a person persists with the actual means of how he or she wants to accomplish this, it is a red flag. Get preventative assistance. 2. A grieving person may need at first to take some medication, such as tranquilizers and mood elevators. Because a person could easily become dependent on such medication, he or she needs careful monitoring. Sometimes an individual will try to gloss over the pain and trauma he or she is experiencing. A medical professional should be seen on a regular basis. The quicker a person is off medication, the sooner the fog lifts, and the sooner a person will be able to cope with the loss and start the healing process. 3. If an individual stays completely detached from his or her normal activities and starts to obsess, or stays alone in a depressed state for long periods, it's time to seek a professional counselor who deals specifically with grief. A counselor can help to bring such a person back to reality. Talking to Heaven 239. Though the grief process is painful, it is a part of the experience of life that we all inevitably go through. We all will feel the loss of someone we love. We must realize that we will survive. Even though it might not be clear right now, your light on this earth is needed. There is no one else on earth like you because you are indeed unique. People need you. At a time of loss, you may experience a sense of self-imposed guilt or worthlessness, thinking if only or I should have, but this self-abuse is not necessary. Don't feed into it. Realize that the grief you experience can assist you in being a bit more sensitive to others in a similar position. One day you will be able to help someone else go through the grieving process. The loss you suffer, no matter how great, does not compare to the greatness that is you. Be kind to yourself and give yourself a big hug. Tell yourself how much you love and appreciate yourself for being alive and having the strength and courage to go through such an incredible adventure called life. James Van Praagh 240 CHAPTAR10 Making contact. I have had enormous interest from people who desire to make contact with their departed loved ones on their own. There are others who feel they, too, possess a strong psychic or mediumistic link, and they want to develop this part of themselves further. In this chapter I am providing information for both purposes. It would not be right of me to instruct those of you who just want to make contact with loved ones without providing a basic understanding of the mechanics of mediumship. I believe the more knowledge you have of this material, the more successful the results. I urge you to read over the following concepts and apply them wherever necessary. This is not a game. It is not my intention to teach you some tricks so you can amuse others with your psychic abilities. The development of your intuition must be taken seriously and with respect. You cannot ring a bell and expect a spirit to suddenly appear. In order to be successful, you will have to 241 work at it. Remember, your results will reflect the amount of discipline, time, and desire you have to develop your abilities. At the same time, you must realize that your spirit family also shares a desire to get in contact with you and would do anything possible to let you know that they are alive. Spirits are constantly around us, and although some are able to get through without much work on our part, others may find it quite difficult. We are all mediums in our own right. As we have become aware, a medium is an instrument, and in between, that the spirit world utilizes to convey a particular message. For what is mediumship but being inspired with thoughts, words, or feelings different from our own? Artists, musicians, doctors, chefs, and almost every living creature is inspired by thoughts. Many times we may think these thoughts are our own, but more often than not, they emanate from spiritual realms. Through these thoughts, the best parts of our creative character come forth. Creativity is not limited to the arts. A doctor utilizing a scalpel is just as creative in his science as a ballerina performing a pirouette. When we think of making contact with the spiritual realms, we first must approach it with the awareness that the spirit world, or the creative sense of God, is not limited to an area in the clouds out of our reach. Rather, this creative spirit is up, James Van Praagh 242 down, around, and through us. It is intermingled within our own world. We must realize that this physical world is just one dimension of many, that our solar system is but one of many, and that the being known as human is just one species of many. Our first lesson, then, is to possess a totally open mind and enter this work with a sense of humility and love. When we open ourselves up to the spiritual realms, we must enter into the work with as much knowledge as is available. The more aware and certain we are of the techniques, the etiquette involved, and the natural spiritual laws, the more effective the mediumship can be, and the clearer and more precise are the results. When I first started my own journey, I read over 100 books originating from various parts of the world. The books I scanned included those written 50 years or so ago to those of the present day. I spoke to as many psychics, mediums, and spiritual teachers as I could find. I visited many non-denominational churches in my area. I attended many gatherings of spiritual people, and I Of course, my interests were to pursue this work to help humankind and to spread the love and knowledge of life after death. If you just want to be able to contact loved ones or guides, your motivation is quite different from mine. You do not have to go through the extent of homework that I did, but remember, the more aware you are of this work, the easier it talking to Heaven 243 will be to understand and accomplish certain results. Discipline plays a very intricate part in developing any spiritual gifts or spiritual communication. Although you have a desire to reach your spirit family, it does not mean that you can turn off the lights and they magically appear. You must do this work in a disciplined, serious state. Anything done in a haphazard manner can be dangerous, and results can be anything but satisfying. Once again, if you want to make contact or open up to the spiritual worlds, I urge you do so, not out of a sense of amusement or curiosity, but with a sense of reverence, humility, discipline, and respect. Your spiritual evolvement is not a cheap trick or a crazy amusement. Like attracts like, and you will get out of your work what you put into it. Therefore, venture into this work with an understanding of the applicable physical and spiritual laws that govern it. In order to start, you must have a grasp of basic spiritual and physical laws and how they apply to your development. Motivation and desire. What is the reason behind your interest in developing your inner abilities and contacting your loved ones? Is it something frivolous like asking James Van Praagh 244 for the winning lottery numbers? Is it to find out where a relative left the will so you can get your share of the estate? Is it to find out the name of the person who murdered your child? Or is it one of idle curiosity? If your interest pertains to any one of these reasons, then my best advice would be to read a good mystery or suspense novel and obtain your excitement from that. You cannot seek contact in order to get revenge or to satisfy personal greed. There is no room for self-indulgence in spirit, it is only the work of selfless love. For love is the strongest component in bringing us closer to spirit. If you want to make contact and explore the spiritual realms, and by doing so advance yourself spiritually and in turn enlighten others, then and only then would I agree that your motivations are correct. Preparation. Whenever we do psychic work, we must prepare ourselves accordingly in order to be a clear channel for spirit. Preparation takes place not only on the physical level but on the emotional, mental, and spiritual levels as well. Physically, one should eat a sound diet. The purer the diet, consisting mostly of vegetarian cuisine, with very little or no refined sugars and talking to Heaven 245 caffeine, the better the body can channel spirit. Red meat, in particular, slows down the vibration of the body and in doing so slows down one's higher ranges of sensitivity. The number one glandular system used in this work is our endocrine glands, and specifically, the adrenals. Therefore, we must protect them and put as little stress upon them as possible. Sweets and caffeine, aside from playing havoc with our blood sugar levels, also have an adverse effect on the adrenal system by speeding it up. Alcohol lowers the body's natural vibratory rate and should never be used when one is preparing to open oneself up to the spiritual worlds. The continued use of alcohol, and drugs as well, could very possibly draw entities to you who are on lower vibratory rates of the astral world. These entities could easily influence you and the information you are receiving in a negative or detrimental way. Remember, you are opening yourself to many levels of spirit. You want to make sure to do everything possible to link up to the highest one possible. Your emotional and mental states need preparation as well. It is necessary to keep your mental and emotional life well balanced when doing this work. Your mental thoughts are real, and they have a direct result on how you feel. Therefore, always try as best you can to keep a positive outlook. James Van Praagh 246 on life. To do this, I highly recommend some sort of meditation, visualization, or positive affirmation in the morning when waking up. Remember, many of your first thoughts affect how you will live the rest of your day. The emotions work hand in hand with your nervous system. If your nervous system is disturbed and stressed, it can shut down important channels of psychic energy that travel up and down the spinal area of the etheric body. You cannot receive clean and refined spiritual information when these centers are blocked. It is very interesting to note that whenever I do readings and a spirit comes through crying because it is excited to speak to its loved one, I find that my receiving centers or channels are blocked because of the spirit's emotional state. Every system works in unison, and one is not more important than another. You want to make sure you are a well-balanced individual. Another vital element is the preparation of the spiritual self. Our spiritual work is one of service and love. We must always aspire to bring as much love and understanding to everyone with whom we come in contact. Our spirit friends and guides want to work with us. We want to make sure that we give them an instrument worth their time. The spirit people more than anything love to bestow their knowledge of higher worlds upon us. They talking to heaven 247 are always searching for someone to bring through the message of love to every part of the planet, but spirit can only bring information that is within the comprehension of the medium. For instance, if I were asked to play a Brahms piano concerto in F minor and I have no knowledge of music, it would be impossible for me to play because it is out of my experience. If, on the other hand, I took piano lessons for years and had an understanding of music, playing Brahms may be elementary to me. Therefore, in order to bring through knowledge of the highest caliber from the heaven worlds, one should constantly attune oneself to the highest of spiritual properties, the highest being love. Begin to live a life of love and service in all you encounter and all you do. Be a living example of the precept of love. See all things as an expression of that creative love called God. Know that there is no need for judgment, for judgment is of the lower physical self, or ego, and what right do you have to judge others because they haven't learned a certain human lesson yet? Judgment often stems from fear. Fear is not living in the God self. Rather, fear prompts you to turn your back on the truth. In striving for a higher understanding of the expression of self, you need to put away that which is not real, judgments, prejudices, and petty ego stroking. Instead, open yourself to the light of tolerance and James Van Praagh 248 love in its purest form, and don't attempt to cloud the picture with unnecessary trivialities. When we attempt to develop our spiritual selves, we should strive to learn through reading spiritual literature, meditation, and the like. I find it is also quite an educational and humbling lesson to walk down the street and experience the living conditions of our planet and psychically spread light and love to those who have lost their way and need guidance. Sensitivity and awareness. When we deal with the spiritual realms, we are dealing with a world very different from anything we can see with our physical eyes. To do this work properly, we must begin to turn off the outside world and be prepared to enter into a world of inner sight and knowledge. In every class one teach, I begin my lecture by informing people that we are going on an exploration to a new world, a new universe all its own, the world of our inner being. This world is available to anyone who is willing to take the time to become aware of it. By exploring and opening up to our inner self, we bring a new awareness into every aspect of our lives. We begin to really live a more fulfilled existence than ever imagined, and a happier life, the kind we dream talking to heaven 249 of. At the center of this world, we greet our God self, and we behold the limitless possibilities that are a part of our makeup. As we become comfortable in utilizing this inner knowingness, we begin to learn how to replace fear with trust in every situation in our lives. Once we have moved into this part of the journey, we can never look at the physical world in the way we once did. It is very difficult to go back to the way we once perceived life. To become aware of your inner world, it is best to start with a meditation. The first step is to close your eyes and become conscious of your breathing. As you do, you will realize that each inhalation is a gift from God and should be treated properly with a sense of reverence and respect. You never know when your last one will be. As you exhale, see all the unnecessary thoughts and negative feelings, frustrations, and doubts you hold on to, and let them go. Become aware of your body. Sense every muscle, organ, and tissue. See your blood flowing freely throughout your body. Feel. God gave you a body, not only to sustain life on this physical planet, but to evolve from within, so you can become the highest spiritual being possible. So, become aware of everything. When you open your eyes, don't just see the chair in front of you, or the door, or flowers. See them with new eyes, eyes of the soul, the inner eyes. Use your James Van Praagh 250 eyes as you do your hands. Feel the life force of the flowers and the trees. Become attuned to the vibration of energy in every living creature. These energies are very real, but they are not overtly obvious. They are subtle energies that you can sense only through your feelings. Energy, everything is made of energy. We must familiarize ourselves with this understanding. Molecules of a life force surround us and run through us all the time. Therefore, we are each an individual energy center, a little world of our own with energy circles and links running in and around our body. We can change these energy patterns, colors, and frequencies based upon our thoughts and desires. We can send out energy and receive energy as long as our channels are open and sensitized. How can we feel this energy? Let's start with a simple exercise that will introduce you to this energy. Close your eyes and hold your palms facing each other about 2 feet apart. Hold them there for about 3 to 4 seconds. Place all your awareness to the area between the palms and very slowly move them together as though you were squeezing an accordion. Sense the feeling between the palms as they move closer, talking to heaven 251 together. Move your hands in a circular motion and feel the subtle energy shifts. You might have to try this a couple of times, but don't worry, you will feel it eventually. You can hold your hand about 3 inches above any body part and slowly move your palm toward it. The more you do this, the more you will become aware of the subtleties of energy surrounding the body. You might notice that certain parts of the body seem denser than others. Some parts of the body may seem to have more energy for a number of reasons. One could be a remnant from an old injury. Whenever an injury occurs in the body, it not only affects the physical body but the etheric body as well. Therefore, there is usually some sort of indication of an injury, most commonly more concentrated energy. Another reason energy is concentrated in a certain part of the body might be a health condition. As mentioned above, a prevailing health condition registers in the etheric body, and the energy around it is usually denser in appearance and seems to be a different color than the rest of the aura. Energy centers. When developing your psychic abilities, it is important to educate yourself with the 7 main energy centers. These energy centers are known as James Van Praagh 252 chakras, a Sanskrit word meaning wheel of energy. These 7 main chakras are positioned on the border of the etheric body and are the doorway or gateway to your etheric energies. The etheric body, or etheric double as it is sometimes called, is the energy body that surrounds the physical body. It is an exact replica of the physical. The etheric body is the one closest to the physical state. Each chakra of the etheric body is different in appearance and color and vibrates or spins at its own particular speed and sends energy, spiritual, mental, emotional, or physical, to its corresponding level. Root chakra. This is located at the base of the spine and is known as the seat of our life force. On the physical level, it is associated with the spine, adrenals, kidneys, and colon. It is a red energy and represents our survival instinct, a strong physical capacity and vitality. It is used to ground our energies back into our body. It is also used to draw up cosmic energies from the earth in order to vitalize other chakra centers. Solar plexus chakra, known also as the sacral chakra, this center is located 2 inches below the navel. It is the seat of all intuition and psychic sensitivity. It is known as a talking to heaven 253 feeling center, a place where all raw emotions are stored. Because this center is primarily on a feeling level, clairsentience and psychometry emanate from this area. On a physical level, it is associated with the sexual organs, spleen, and the bladder. It corresponds with the color of orange. Spleen chakra. This third center is located above the navel in the spleen area. At this level, raw emotions are elevated to a finer vibration. This is the center of our feelings, will, and autonomy. This area affects the digestion and the organs of the stomach, pancreas, adrenals, liver, and gallbladder. On the physical level, it is the connection to the silver cord and enables us to astral travel. The silver cord is a concentration of energy in the form of a tether that connects the etheric body to the physical body. It is seen clairvoyantly as a silvery white color. At night when we sleep, we leave the physical body and travel for miles in the astral world. We are able to do this because our etheric body, the one that travels, is connected to our physical body by this lifeline or cord. At the time of actual physical death, the silver cord snaps, and the etheric body is freed. The spleen chakra usually appears as the color yellow. James Van Praagh 254 Heart chakra located in the center of the chest, between the shoulder blades, the heart chakra is the seat of unconditional love. Here the higher spiritual elements of compassion, trust, giving, receiving, and nurturing are felt, and the desire to serve people. It is associated with trance work and feeling the presence of spirit beings. Physically, it is associated with the heart, thymus gland, and circulation system. Green is the color of this center. Throat chakra. When this center is developed, it is used for clairaudience, to hear spirit. One actually can hear a physical sounding voice of the spirit being, or may hear thoughts as if listening to the spirit. It also works with the heart center for trance work. In mediumship, the throat chakra, along with the spleen and solar plexus chakras, assists with direct voice mediumship or channeling. This center is the source of all creative expression. In the physical body, it directly affects the thyroid, hypothalamus, throat, and mouth. Meditate to the color of blue when opening this center. Third eye chakra. Probably the chakra area most known to the public, this very important center is located in the Talking to Heaven 255 center of the forehead. When developed on a psychic level, it is used for the gift of clairvoyance. When opened, we can see auras, images of all shapes and colors, and spirit people. In the physical body, it is associated with the ears, the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, and the nose. The color indigo corresponds to the seat of vision. Crown chakra. The seventh center is located at the very top of the head. This center is the doorway to the higher or cosmic forces. When developed, it can be used to influence all the other centers and bring the highest of spiritual truths to all sensitive work. It is the seat of prayer and protection, mysticism and enlightenment. Meditate on a beautiful violet color, which represents this chakra. It influences the cerebral cortex and central nervous system of the physical body. Patience. To grow from our experiences, we must give ourselves the proper amount of time to develop, for everything has a rhythm and creative energy all its own. In many cases, especially in the paranormal, there is no clock to measure our progress. One of the most important tools is patience. We begin to give birth to a new side of ourselves, a part that James Van Praagh 256 has been dormant for many, many years. The past years have been filled with various belief systems, behaviors, and emotionally charged experiences, and we must dig through them in order to bring ourselves back to the truth in our infinite source. I am speaking of that child part that we closed down at the age of 6 or 7 when innocence was replaced with rational thought. In this work, the more we use the rational mind, the less progress we will make. When we expend too much energy analyzing a thought or message, we leave little of that precious energy to utilize for the actual psychic and spiritual work. Progress takes time. With patience and discipline, you will see changes. Be kind to yourself and enjoy every bit of sensitivity of which you are becoming aware. Enjoy the excitement. Do not be put off if the results do not happen right away. Your spirit guides and friends know you are trying, and they, too, will do their best to work with what is given to them. Remember, you come into this work with all.
Soulmate. This is a part of Zindagi Ki Roshni Consultancy. It has been established for those who have lost someone and for those who are very sad in their life. About 100 PDF books and 20 short audio books of this topic will be sent to those who join it. This data will be sent to their email or WhatsApp. If you want to join this organization, then please send WhatsApp message to this number.